Mr. Gregory, welcome in the Etty Hillesum Huis. And on behalf of the foundation, we are very pleased and very honored with your visit. And of course with this beautiful piece of art. You will tell something about it.
Yeah.
And well, if we have questions, we can ask them afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you and enjoy.
You're not going to uncover it?
Are you gonna uncover it? Am I gonna?
Or is it just going to be a blank piece of paper?
All right. Well, here we go then. We take some time for it. Here it is. Stage is yours.
Okay. A year ago next week, and during the course of the day, I find out it's the very day that the Russians invade Ukraine. So that's all going on at the same time, coincidentally. And that was making me think about the whole notion of prominent artists and art historians in the decades following the Second World War saying, how can we make art after the Holocaust? What is relevant about making art after the Holocaust? And in the same way, at the present time, I know of artists who are in a dilemma, in a crisis in their heads, thinking, how can I make art when there's a climate crisis going on? What's the point of me making these pictures? I mean, even to the extent of art in museums becoming a focus of protest about it, people going and trying to damage works of art in museums. But I really take the contrary view, and I take the contrary view because all of these people were making art, being creative, producing literature, obviously in the most awful circumstances of persecution, knowing that they faced very probably the likelihood of being murdered in the camps of extermination. So that one you probably know about. So this one, I think the first time I knew about Etty Hillesum was in one of the early books about Charlotte Salomon. There's obviously been, fortunately, a lot more recent writing about her, but there was a biography written by Mary Feldsteiner, and there's just a tiny little mention in the same sentence of Etty Hillesum and Anne Frank together, just referred to as two Dutch diarists. So I think it was probably from that I thought, who is Etty? I've heard of Anne Frank, although I actually I'd never read Anne Frank's diary till after I'd read the Etty Hillesum work. So that's how I started to find out about Etty Hillesum and the family and the brothers. And then obviously there must have been some reference on to Helen Bear. And I can't remember how Felix Nussbaum, Felke Platek fitted in. On that first visit here to Middelburg, on that trip, I then went on to Osnabrück. And if you've not been there, if you ever find yourself in Osnabrück, the museum made there, like this Etty Hillesum Huis. So there it's the Felix Nussbaum house, but because obviously Felix Nussbaum he'd originated in Osnabrück, made all these paintings during the Second World War in hiding in Brussels. The paintings miraculously survived in damp cellars and weren't really discovered till the 1950s. But the city of Osnabrück in effect sort of took him back home, and they had built this, in my view, one of the best art museums I've been in, and they got Daniel Libeskind to design it, who did the Jewish Museum extension in Berlin and doing the replacement for the World Trade Center. And I just think it's perfect because it is a really nice building, but it's not an architect's ego where it's overtaken the paintings. It's built and succeeds in projecting the paintings, supporting the paintings. So I just got it in my head. Might be completely wrong, but I just invented in my head, maybe these people, if they'd had the opportunity, would have quite liked to have met each other in a cafe and had a discussion, and wouldn't that have been nice? They might have had an argument, I don't know, but that's why I brought them together. And I did something which I don't do in my work, my other work now. I deliberately nowadays don't use photographs, but obviously I had to make some reference to photographs as available for here. There wasn't a photograph of Feldke Platte, there wasn't one of Felix Nussbaum. I reversed the photograph of Etty Hillesum at the piano, and I just thought I'd put them together with a bit of tapas, and so that's how that was just me putting my imagination into that. But it's really very, very nice for me to have both these paintings here. It just feels like they've got a home and they're not just sitting in a pile of paintings back where I live. Yeah.
Well, we are very happy with both of the paintings.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Okay.